But this didn't stop Hanju's steps, and he immediately turned around, his mind full of contemplation. What a foolish boy, how can your looks compare to mine, yet you want to chase women? Scene shifts to another place. Hanju looked at the crowd in front of him, deep in thought. This must be another gathering of all disciples, probably related to the inner sect examination. The senior brother walked up from behind. Junior brother, long time no see. Just in time, I also have something to discuss with you. Do you know a woman named Xing Hongchuan? Hanju was surprised. How does he know? Hanju then looked at Yang La and denied, why are you asking me this, senior brother? He immediately answered, over the years, senior brother has been chasing the demon sect with the sect leader in the 10,000 demon realm. Though you weren't injured, it was thanks to the information from a traitor of the demon sect. The sect leader pretended to leave you Qingxin, but in fact, he was ambushing in the 10,000 demon realm. Yang La continued, the traitor is Xing Hongchuan. She was kidnapped by the Qingming demon sect when she was young, threatened with some poison, so she became a spy in Yuqingxin. So, she hates the demon sect deeply. She even tried to steal a prescription from an outer sect alchemist, looking for an antidote. To Hanju's surprise, Yang La continued, this young lady knows her true background and wants to turn away from evil and reform. Later, Xing Hongchuan was rescued by the sect leader. Because of her contributions, the sect leader allowed her to join the inner sect as an exception and become a disciple. After he finished speaking, Hanju said, Xing Hongchuan is indeed a remarkable person. She values loyalty, and I admire her. At this moment, Yang La looked at him. Now, Xing Hongchuan is cultivating at our main peak. We met her before, and I heard she's looking for a disciple, the servant of the alchemist, Hanju. Coincidentally, we have a disciple named Hanju in Yuqing Peak. Junior brother Han, do you think this is just a coincidence? He finally understood, and his face immediately turned to stone. She actually told everything? There was no choice but to admit, all right, I am the Hanju she knows. At that time, I didn't have any choice. But seeing the sudden change, Yang La smiled and hugged him. I understand. I just didn't expect your talent to be so extraordinary. She then swore, you chose Yuqing Peak instead of going to other superior sections. It is our honor. We will do our best to provide you with the best resources for cultivation. Don't worry. After the music played, Shi Chuan appeared and announced that the inner sect assessment was starting. She then announced the content of the assessment. Each main peak must send at least one disciple. Is there anyone willing to volunteer? Upon hearing this, the disciples immediately raised their hands to sign up, like ants. Among them was Hanju. He looked at Meng He and asked, everyone is participating so actively, does the assessment offer very attractive rewards? Meng He nodded and replied, the rewards are substantial. In addition to the inheritance of ultimate skills, there are 500 top-quality spirit stones and an elf ice shield. However, these things made Hanju think deeply. Is that all? Why didn't Fairy Shichuan mention the innate cave? Could it be that she's opening a back door for me? Eventually, he decided to raise his hand. Since everyone was so interested, he joined in to avoid being seen as out of place. But Shichuan's voice was loud and desperate, Hanju, you're the first. Anyone else? He immediately stood up, expressing, Master, there must be some misunderstanding. But she completely ignored him and turned to look elsewhere. After a while, the final list of candidates was completed, and the other disciples immediately left, discussing excitedly. Only Hanju remained because of Shichuan's special request. She looked at him and asked, your cultivation progress is so rapid. Master underestimated your talent. You've mastered all 3 elements, but your breakthrough speed is so exceptional that you can even be said to be unmatched in Yuqing sect. In the face of praise, he immediately clasped his hands together. These are all teachings from my master. My master is the truly powerful one. But his flattery only made Shi Quan feel helpless. I don't remember teaching you anything. Your cultivation and swordsmanship are good, but they're not our secret techniques. As she said this, an unparalleled expression appeared on her face. You must have been taught before. Since you entered the sect, you have diligently cultivated and never intended to harm the sect. There are witnesses who can attest that you were born in the outer sect, which shows that you were simply blessed with fate from a young age. Everyone has their own opportunities, and the master won't be curious to tell you. The reason I'm telling you this is to let you know that for this inner sect assessment, you can confidently display your strength without worrying about causing trouble for yourself. But that wasn't all, Shi Quan continued, to avoid unnecessary trouble. From today onwards, you will be my personal disciple. Her words were like a thunderclap, leaving him stunned. Personal disciple? But the system didn't give him a chance to refuse, and immediately a congratulatory notice appeared, with the reward being the 9 dragons exorcism seal, marking him as Shi Quan's personal disciple. Knowing that his identity was confirmed, he didn't refuse and immediately shouted loudly, "Thank you, Master." A slight smile appeared at the corner of her mouth. She then turned and waved her hand. "This is the jade token for personal disciples. Take it carefully, be cautious, and dismiss yourself." After the meeting, Hanju returned to his place and began familiarizing himself with the new footwork. He stretched out his hand and muttered to himself, "As long as I have these 3 spells, it should be no different from the main technique, and using different types of spiritual power gives different effects. It's quite interesting." Now he had many more magical treasures in his hands, though he wasn't yet proficient. With the addition of the Sanqing exquisite shadow sword, there should be no problem. The more he thought about it, the more irritated he became. No, although the master said there were no restrictions on the methods during the competition, the destructive power of these 2 forces is too great. I shouldn't use them unless necessary. If I don't use them, I really have no other techniques left. At this moment, Chang Yuanai suddenly appeared from somewhere. "Junior brother, the inner sect competition is about to start. Are you ready with your confidence?" He stammered in response, "Oh, good morning, senior sister." The scene switched to a mountain, and a sudden scream was heard. "How did you get in here?" "It's a secret. Junior brother, come with me to a place for the inner sect competition." Yuanai explained, "The master is worried that you don't understand the rules, so I was specifically said to explain them to you. The arena at the 18 peaks has been set up. Do you know about it? Each disciple will be assigned to a peak, one-on-one, and the top 10 will be selected. When the competition is held in the inner sect city, the entire sect will come to watch. Junior brother, look, this is where you will compete tomorrow at the Tianju platform." Hanju looked at the notice board and asked, "Does this mean not many people will come before the top 10? Yuanai confirmed, "That's right. Is Junior brother's goal to be in the top 3? I believe in your strength, you can definitely do it." He sighed, "Do your best." Yuanai seemed very happy at this moment. "We need to inform the master, Junior brother, good luck." "Thank you, senior sister, be careful on the road." Once Yuanai left, Hanju silently thought to himself, "That's right, I should participate low-key. I don't want to attract too much attention." Suddenly, Hong Quan appeared from behind. Her gentle voice sounded from behind, "Husband." Hanju was startled and turned around shouting, "Miss, don't call me like that." But it seemed that she liked it, as she chuckled softly. Hong Quan teased, "We talked about this back in the outer sect, didn't expect to meet here, fate is truly wonderful." Hanju stammered, "At that time, it was just a chance encounter. If I had rejected you, I was afraid you would have killed me." But Hong Quan seemed unfazed. "It's fine, I took it seriously. And at that time, you didn't betray me, otherwise, I wouldn't be where I am today. I heard you've already broken through to the 9th level of foundation establishment, is that true?" Hanju confirmed, "It's true, but I was a little short, almost broke through, but didn't have time to improve." Hong Quan continued, "Just a little short?" She began to touch her ample chest. "Well, I have something that can help foundation establishment cultivators improve their cultivation. Let me see if I can find it." Hong Quan immediately took out a medicine bottle. "This is Yuling pill. I don't particularly like it. You can use it." The young man, though addicted, still seemed noble. "You can keep it for yourself." After the first sentence, the second sentence had already handed the bottle to his hand. She then said, "Don't worry, I can get this medicine regularly. But Hanju's concern wasn't about this. I am cultivating under Master Jingxi, you don't need to worry about my master. Her voice carried a warmth. Good luck in the intersect competition. When I first started, I didn't expect you to be so talented. My talent is ordinary, but if you ever need help in the future, I'll do my best. Hearing this, Hanju's eyes lit up. Before he could finish, Hong Quan had already disappeared before him. Hanju tightly gripped the medicine bottle in his hand, silently thinking, this is karma. The scene shifted to a room, where Hong Quan was cultivating with her master. The person was Master Jingxi. You've already given the Yuling pill to that young man, do you regret it? Hong Quan still answered firmly, no regrets, I've already fallen for him. But Master Jingxi still didn't believe it, nonsense. Is it just because he's handsome? Hong Quan blushed as she was caught in her thoughts, isn't that enough? Her master was speechless, you're working so hard to help him, I think it's not worth it. But Hong Quan explained, his talent is exceptional. The first time I saw him, he hadn't started cultivating yet. I heard that now he's already at the 9th level of foundation establishment. But Master Jingxi was still confused, with such good talent, why haven't we heard of him in these years? Hong Quan explained, Master said he's very humble, always in seclusion cultivating. Master even wanted to give him a chance, but he directly rejected it. Only then did Master Jingxi think this young man was interesting. It seems I need to pay attention to him as well. The scene shifted to the competition area, and Hanju finally realized he had been deceived. They clearly said that only the top 10 could let the entire sect watch the competition, but he thought other sects wouldn't have many people watching. But in front of him was a sea of people tightly surrounding the stage. Hanju despaired and shouted loudly, Heavens, what should I do now? The system then issued a notification. The intersect competition has started. Now you have the following choices. First, win the final victory and make a name for yourself throughout the Yuling sect, gaining 1,000 high-grade spirit stones. Second, modestly aim for the top 3, minimize the impact, and receive a spiritual treasure. After reading the system's notification, he immediately chose the second option, in line with his low-profile motto. Looking at the sky, Hanju felt that the system truly understood him, and then the bell for the first match rang. MISU pointed ahead at this moment, seeing Hanju stepping onto the stage. She was very confident, believing that Hanju would win the first match. But contrary to his overwhelming cultivation, he deliberately acted as if it was very difficult. Using his movement technique to dodge back and forth, not allowing the opponent to land a hit. The opponent still didn't realize they were being led and continued attacking excitedly, not caring about the consumption of internal energy. He even showed a contemptuous expression, looking down on his opponent. Their match certainly couldn't attract the attention of the picky audience around them. Even the two brothers from their family were stunned. Senior Mai, dressed in black, knew that Hanju was just performing. Never mind, as expected, he's also tired now and has to suppress his strength desperately. Feeling that the time was right, his gaze became sharp. When he noticed the audience was thinning out. The referee had even fallen asleep by noon. He quickly closed the distance to his opponent. The opponent was still full of arrogance, unaware that death was approaching. Then Hanju's proud expression appeared. A loud crash was followed by dust flying everywhere, and the referee was stunned. He used an overwhelming stance to ensure the opponent couldn't stand up again and won the match. The two brothers looked over there, speechless. Hearing their voices, he looked over and smiled brightly, Brother Mai, I just found his flaw. The next match continued like the first. MISU puffed her cheeks as she sat to the side, Senior brother, I always feel like that person is deliberately avoiding me. My Fujio sighed as he stood by, he's a hard cultivator, and doesn't want his cultivation to be affected by women. Speaking of this, his expression became serious, what he wants is the Great Way and immortality. Even with his sister's comfort, the brother still shook his head, I can't compare to him. The sun immediately rose from the top of the pavilion. Hanju was cultivating, his mind in a state of confusion. The initial tactic was to wait for the audience to leave before striking and defeating the opponent. Now the tactic has entered the top 10, and with the audience surrounding him, it is Difficult to hide. It is worth noting that the previous reincarnated being of the Great Ascension, Zhou Fan, has also entered the top 10, which is truly astonishing. The current priority is still to become stronger and avoid accidents. At this moment, the scenery was like a painting. Then came Hanju's gaze. No, he looked into the distance, and the leaves didn't move, there was clearly no wind. So, what was the sound of wind just now? Did I fall under some spell? The atmosphere became darker and darker. Suddenly, his eyes flashed, and he performed the Dragon Dance Demon Exorcism seal. A strong light immediately struck below. But this couldn't eliminate all of them, leaving the remnants to appear. He immediately shouted loudly, "Demon, surrender quickly." A loud crash echoed through the night. Then came the sound of powerful footsteps running rapidly through the air. A black figure appeared, shouting, "Stop." Hanju said in surprise, "The demons have really evolved." But upon closer inspection, it was an old man. "I told you not to fight, I am the Supreme Elder of the I Ching sect. How could the I Ching sect have a half-beast like you? Don't you respect me as a senior?" Upon hearing his voice, Hanju widened his eyes. Could the Supreme Elder be? The Supreme Elder angrily scolded Hanju. "I was just passing by, and you're the one throwing big moves. Do you have any sense of law, any sense of propriety?" He couldn't understand why this old man was out in the middle of the night doing strange things. No wonder others misunderstood him. He didn't care, still angrily saying, "I'm cultivating the primordial spirit's out-of-body experience, don't you understand?" In fact, the Supreme Elder was also frightened. The spell just now almost destroyed his primordial spirit. And even his main body wouldn't be able to withstand it. Are the inner disciples so strong now? Hanju ignored the old man and turned to leave. "I have to tell the master, senior, your actions might scare the disciples to death." The Supreme Elder was startled and quickly stopped him, even apologizing to him without caring about his face. Seeing his reaction, Hanju asked suspiciously, "Do you know my master?" He puffed out his chest and solemnly boasted, "Actually, your master is my disciple, and even the current sect leader is." Hanju replied indifferently, "I'll pretend today's events didn't happen, you can leave now, no need to see me off." The Supreme Elder looked at Hanju with satisfaction and said, "Kid, I think you have excellent talent, do you want to inherit my legacy?" He answered out of courtesy, "What legacy? Do you want the Heavenly Gang Golden Body technique? Only I and the sect leader in the entire I Ching sect know this book on muscle training. The Heavenly Gang Golden Body? It sounds really powerful." Hanju wanted it. But after saying this, he changed his mind. "Forget it, thank you for your kindness, senior." Hearing this, the old man walked away, fuming. Hanju became more certain that the old man had no good intentions. He nearly killed him, he definitely wanted to play with his life. Hanju told his master about the incident. Having a master like a child made Fairy Shichuan's head hurt. That old man is restless again. "Don't worry, I'll go find him in a few days. If he dares to come again, I will handle it personally." After giving Hanju a definite response, she told him to go and rest. At this time, Hanju was still somewhat puzzled. He was curious if the Heavenly Gang Golden Body was really that powerful, since that senior wanted to teach it to him. Fairy Shichuan shyly replied, "It's very powerful. It can be considered the strongest technique in the I Ching sect. But before practicing this divine skill, you must castrate yourself." At this point, the room fell into silence. As expected, that old man had bad intentions, refusing was the wise choice. Wait, if that's the case, then the sect leader and Supreme Elder are. Fairy Shichuan knew what he was thinking and strictly forbade him from spreading the matter. Hanju replied loudly, "Understood." This was to increase his authority, but in his heart, he felt that the senior was really cruel, directly cutting off the chance to practice the divine skill. The next day, the inner sect's top 10 duels officially began. Countless disciples rushed to the stands to watch the strength of these geniuses. These fans squeezed together, holding up the second-in-command, who didn't look like a panda at all, and loudly shouting with banners. There were too many people watching, Hanju thought for a moment. It's better to just settle it.